Well, welcome to Woman Crush Every Day,
Woo.
where we discuss queer media, especially when it is black and especially when it is woman. I'm your host, Tang B, aka Sean B. Scribe.
I am your co-host, Allison, aka Al Woo.
And we have a special guest on today. Give it up for Crystal, the sound yogi.
Yes,
indeed.
Absolutely.
So, we are really excited to talk to you today. First, I actually want to start off on how this connection even happened. So, a little bit of a background of how Awu came to know the sound.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like all of this, it's crazy having like full circle moments. I feel like a lot of things in my life late have been like little small full circle moments, and I feel like this is kind of one of those things. So, we've been doing the show. We were talking about 20s this season, and Lena Waithe, creator and writer of the show, ends up seeing one of our videos and sharing it, subscribing, doing all that stuff. So we're like, oh my gosh, wow, that's so cool. Like, Lena Waithe is like paying attention to our show. That's really dope. So then Crystal reaches out to me and is like, hey, like, I'm working on this show. Like, I'm in the building. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, like, doing set design, and yeah, it's just like, what's up? We like gotta connect. That's dope. So I'm like, that's amazing, because we met originally through a Women in Hip Hop conference in Idlewild, Michigan. And shout out Piper Carter as the organizer who hooked that up. And just a lot of really dope folks who were all involved with that coming together. But like, that's real. Yeah, this is where we first met. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you were like doing massages and stuff. Like, I'm over here doing like, I mean, we just like got to share rhymes, and like that was amazing to hear you spit. And I'm like, hey, that's real shit. And I think like all of the the connections happening there. So it was just dope to be like, oh my gosh,
that's crazy. I forgot that we were spitting.
Yeah, like I remember spitting in the living room. Like that was dope.
Shout out to Lisa. I think she has that video.
Yo, I need that video.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a really, really amazing day. And like, was that like a Sunday? It had to be, because it was like the last day. So yeah.
Okay, dope. So y'all origin story kind of starts in Idlewild. Now I want to find out from you, Crystal, kind of where does your origin story start? Where you from? Where you been?
Man, I'm born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I've lived here my entire life, besides the time that I spent in the military. So I was in the Army for 10 years total, like 8 to 10, say 8 years, and it was just that's where it all began for me here in Detroit. Like, it's always been me climbing, me learning. I think it's a hustle. I know it's a hustle muscle type of state, period, but the city of Detroit is just specifically different. And just being from here, I feel like that's why I always ran different. I always did things in a broader spectrum. I didn't just focus on one thing. It was always like, well, this one thing might lead me to something else, and then this made sense to something else. But that's all because of being here, being born and raised here, and learning that you have to move like
that's
that.
Amazing that you say that, because I feel like it makes me think about my dad, who's from Detroit. I'm not originally from Detroit, but like those pieces, that's like, no, you learn a whole bunch of things in order to really be able to play the field. Like, you shaving as like that's a Detroit thing, you know what I mean?
Yes,
so like, that's dope. That hustle
you think
is real.
about it, like they call us Motown, right? They say like, this is the D, it's Motown. But then it's so many other things that came out of Detroit. It's not just cars. You got music. Yeah. It's like all those things together is a broader spectrum. And I know I'm forgetting a whole bunch of other stuff that started. Better Made Chips, Faygo.
Right.
You know what
Like
I'm saying? All of these
Caesars,
things. Yeah. And Little Caesars, I tell people all the time, like, y'all would still be walking if it wasn't for Detroit. Like, seriously. Y'all wouldn't even have that type of technology. So I just think even us, we're such a humble people too. We're flashy on what we wear. Like, we do that. Like, we get fancy with our clothes, right? But then we're the most humble people with what we do. Because you can hire somebody to paint your wall, and next thing you know, they lay on the floor, they didn't put the tub in,
come on,
they cousin that came through it. Yeah.
It's a respect for the hustle.
It's a Detroit thing, and nobody can deny that. I just want us to feel like that more. So, yeah.
Do you feel like because of that too, like, is Detroit on like the bubble right now? Do you feel like now it's kind of like a special moment for Detroit,
It is. I think it's a very fragile state for us too, because it's so much being invested in us that it's we one wrong move away from losing it all or blowing up.
Yeah.
And it's a very fine balance, and I feel like we kind of on a teeter-totter. Great things are happening though with Big Sean coming back in and opening up that studio. That's showing you coming back to Detroit. I always say that if all the people that made it came back to Detroit, we wouldn't have the issues that we have. I always say that the doctors that I know, the actors that I know, like, I mean, talking about, like, cast, you know, we have the best doggone directing, like, art, Miss McCormick.
Yeah.
Miss McCormick is, like, the best acting coach, theater person in the world, right? She is responsible for almost every Detroit actor on these shows. Why are we honoring her?
I mean, she got the Tony though.
She did get a Tony.
But, you know, I mean,
but
she
I'm
did
talking
get the
about
Tony
us.
Yo, here at home.
Detroit.
You know, that's true. That's true. You know what? I actually spoke with Miss McCormick, Marilyn McCormick, last year or so, because of being in the theater scene, and you know, Shantae is a playwright. And
shout out to Marilyn McCormick.
Yeah, all his
Shout out to
cast.
Marilyn.
You know,
fired up.
she fired up.
The whole time. Everybody on the
This
couch.
is new development. This is I didn't know. Yeah. That's Cass started a lot of stuff for me too. So yeah, I went to high school at Cass. I went to middle school right across from Cass, right in the middle of that office building between the Masonic Temple and Cass. Yeah, it was a Wayne State. First charter school in Michigan. Started right there. So then I transferred right on over to Cass, and yeah, that started a lot for me too. Miss McCormick, I played with her daughter Melanie. I know her son Michael. Shout out to them. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. These are real names. It's like, yo, anybody from Detroit watching this, anybody who knows like Cass Tech at all, like, yo,
theater
you know, these are all facts.
PA Guild,
all of that. All of that. Yeah.
Okay, we family in here now. This changed the whole vibe. Right? We was already in there, but then like it just changed everything up. Because you know, if you from Detroit, you know, it's like, you from Detroit, what side you from, what high school you go to.
Exactly.
Like it's like hello.
I'm actually surprised we didn't get to that sooner, but you know, hey, I actually kind of love how it happened so organically right here. Like, let's go. Well, dope. So let's fast forward. Boom. How did the sound, like getting into producing sound and like in the production world of all of that, like, tell us your journey.
Ooh, it's been a journey for sure. So back in, I say 2010, my little brother was killed. And it was weird for me because I had seen him only twice in my life. The first time I saw him, he was a baby. And the next time I saw him, he was in a casket. And that shifted something in me. And I had just gotten out of the military. I was like, okay, what do I want to do? And so this had happened to me before. My older brother was murdered. That's how I went into the military. And now here I am. Fast forward, it's 9 years. It was down the street from each other. It was a lot of similarities that I felt like spirit was guiding me to see. And I was like, I can't fumble on this because this could be part of my future, right? Like, because I'm looking at my bloodline. These are my brothers. Mm-hmm. So maybe this is like some kind of fate of mine is what's going through my head. So I'm trying to figure this out, right? And then I saw a commercial on TV for the Art Institute. And I kept seeing it. And like right before my brother died, I was getting ready to go back to Iraq. They was offering me some crazy amount of money for a couple months. And I was like, oh yeah, when I come back, I'll do that Art Institute thing and study audio because my older brother was a rapper. And I wrote. I was always doing poetry, but I was scared to perform. I had a real stage fright, and so I played basketball at Cass. I was like, I'm not getting into theater, but I was always at the shows, always supporting because I loved it, and I really didn't know I loved the sets. That was what I was really loving. Like, I liked how things changed over quick, and I didn't know that either. That looped back around later, but the music, that my brothers guided me towards that. The spirit of them led me towards trying to understand music, something that I felt like I could still communicate with them in spirit with. And that started it. So I literally quit my job. After I got back from his funeral, they told me, hey, we filled your position and we're not going to give you the contract in Iraq. We squashed that. We lost it.
Wow.
So you don't have a job. Wow. And I was like, okay, what I'm going to do? Got in my car and I drove 45 minutes to Austin. I was in Texas then. And enrolled in the Art Institute of Austin. And then I had a vision. I literally couldn't move my legs. You get up in the morning, had to use the bathroom. This was like the next day. These things was happening. So I'm laying there and it's like these prickles, when you like paint a wall or something, and it's like they're little prickles. I couldn't understand that, but it was more like some stuff going on. It was more like some. It was gonna be some fluster, some chaos. And it was a whole lot of chaos that started happening to try to stop me from studying music. And I just kept jumping them. Now I feel like they're hurdles. That's how I look at them. Now I'm like, oh, that's just another hurdle I have to hop. And I have to hop this hurdle. They was usually relationships with people, parents, relationships with women, whatever was going on in my life at that time. It was like I had to hop over it to get to this. And music was just carrying me. I decided I was going to start working at Guitar Center because I was looking for a mixer. And they couldn't answer my questions. I was like, can I plug this into, an interface? Like, can I use this in Pro Tools to, have multiple control of my channels? I want to mix like I'm in the studio, man. And this is a manager. And she was like, I don't know, but the questions that you're asking me let me know that you should probably work here. So I was like, yeah. So like, this was a Friday, right? Saturday, this lady calls me and she was like, I got your application. I want to do an interview over the phone. Woo, woo, woo. Her name was Mary. Shout out to Mary Walenta. She like, I want to call you. It was the same girl that had told me the stuff about the mixer. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, that was a lot of change in between. I had to take a test, get an application. It had to get sent to her, all this stuff. So she ended up hiring me to work at Guitar Center Studios, which led me to hooking up the gear. So we had live sound stuff, and we would have bands coming. We had Tank's band. That's how I linked up with One Direction's band and John Schoen and their music director. And it was just like, inputs and outputs that started giving me tech stuff. I can hook your stuff up. I can download your drivers. I can get you going one stop. That was always my goal. Once I press record, we're good to go on every angle. So I try to troubleshoot that in my head the entire time through the whole process. And I just started doing it over and over and over again. I was still going to the Art Institute. I had transferred to Houston by then. And that's what I've been doing the whole time. I've been meeting people and helping. That was my thing. I want to help you be able to make good music at an affordable cost. Like, if you understood the principles, then you would know you don't have to spend too much money. Like, when you start spending a lot of money, you have to do less, right? But now you have the money, you can afford to do that. But if you're not, the kind of growing in it is the grind and learning on the less expensive gear. Like, you know what you need. You understand now, right? Why this is a better piece of gear, because you've had the trash. So I would always kind of help people from where they were financially, not where I needed them to be because I got bills, and that's kind of why I left Guitar Center. So that was the end of our demise after 7 years, was because I didn't feel like they had the same vision. It was, we're not aligned in that aspect. You just want to sell, and I want to help. So can we meet in the middle? And when we couldn't meet in the middle, it was time for me to go. It's time.
And it sounds like it led to your own thing. So I want to jump into Mind Masters, and then we'll talk about 20. Mastermind. Tell me about Mastermind.
Yeah. So Mastermind started with 3 women who all were in production here in Detroit from different areas. We got Sensei. Shout out to Sensei at Sensei Sessions on Instagram. And then I am Rachel Simone on Instagram as well. And Rachel was always into TV. Her father was at Channel 4. He was a director for years. Randy Henry. If you're from Detroit, you hoop, you know who Randy Henry is. Shout out to Randy Henry, Big Randy. He's a legend.
Okay.
No, people that hoop, you know. But he, we formed together and was like, man, look, we have something special here, where we got into a situation where Rachel was going to be the production coordinator for the Dave Chappelle show. So that got kind of controversial, especially within the LGBTQA community. And for us, it was like, but we're behind the scenes of it, and we're part of that community, and y'all don't know that. So everybody coming at him, and it was like, yeah, man, but he did make sure we got jobs. And he was specific on hiring Detroit people. And when he saw us, it was never no problems. The entire staff was great to us. So that was something that was really cool. And that started us wanting to do more together. And then to help other women be able to do it too. Because a lot of people don't even know what a production assistant is. They don't understand catering and what that's going to mean. When we were reaching out to companies for catering, they didn't have their paperwork in order. We couldn't hire them. They weren't licensed. So it's things like that we just felt like we could help them get in the right channels. They might not know where to go, so they're just doing it because they don't have the information. So that's what Mastermind's about. We hit the ground running after the Dave Chappelle show. We threw an event, Got some people in there to pitch their ideas. So pitching with a purpose. We gave away $500 to the winner, who was Sheepy McFly's sister. Shout out to Deandra. She made pillows, which his mother was the artist. And now they've created pillows out of this, which now I've turned around and used on the set of the new movie. He looked like a postcard. So that's what I mean.
Hey,
we have to keep generating.
Everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
With your people. Like, don't play put your people on. Really put your people on. Like, if I'm designing a set and I can put your product, that's product placement, right?
Absolutely.
So let's place your product. So even if for a second somebody sees that pillow, they're going to be like, oh, that's cool. Oh, I want. Where do I get that? Maybe they'll reach out. They'll start trying to find it. That generates wealth. That's the only way we change things. And so that's what I'm about. I want to change things. I want to be the change that I want to see. And so I can only do that in my spaces. I can't control anybody else. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So who do you have to be in order to get involved with Masterminds?
You can just hit us up on Instagram. I am Rachel Simone on Instagram. I'm the_sound_yogi, but you can just type in sound yogi and it'll still pop up the same. Sensei Session as well. Now those are the three of us so far. We're building, branching off. So the big goal is to have everybody working and everybody qualified to work. So when you get on a set, you don't have questions. It's not like, I don't know what a PA does. It's like, I'm here and I know what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
And if we're coming out to LA, we're taking this group with us. So here we have a shoot that's in Memphis. Okay, well, we need 5 PAs. Well, this is from our group of PAs, and we need a director. We already have our directors because that's what everybody is doing. Mm-hmm. They're hiring their people. Mm-hmm. So that's what we want to be for Detroit. I feel like a healthier liaison. I don't always like the highway between LA and Detroit, or even Detroit and Atlanta. It's always some kind of weird stuff between the drugs or just illegal activities or whatever it is that's going to guide you.
Come on, Detroit, get it together, man. Damn.
We got to have healthier portals.
Creation.
Yeah, all of them aren't bad, but a lot of them are. And like, I can hear that when I get out there. It's like, oh man, Detroit. Like, I don't really mess around with y'all. And then you have a group of people that's like, oh yeah, like I love that. And it's still weird and shifty. I just want it to be healthy. Mm-hmm. And I think women, we tend to create a lot healthier space. And we get things done. And that's just the truth. That's
why it's Woman Crush every day.
Every day.
Every single day.
We want to get into a little bit about 20s. How did you get involved with set design for the after show?
Okay, so after Dave Chappelle, where I was PAing for the first time in my life, and like I was one of those people. So see, this is how that's transferring. And I got an opportunity to the set designer for the Dave Chappelle show. I worked for Dave for all of his career. So he had done this for over 16 years, I believe, with him. And he just looked at me and said, hey, you have a lot of qualities that I think it would be really good for helping us design these sets. Have you ever done that? And I was like, no, but I do notice irregularities when I'm watching television all the time. I was like, I see, like, if it's something on the table and it's moved from a scene that doesn't make sense. Queens. I saw something on Queens the other day when Brandy was singing. Okay, so Brandy was singing, right, and then these people was in the background, and then she stopped, she was still singing, and they was gone, right? And then she was still singing, and then they came back, and I was like, oh, that's a bad cut.
Oh, yeah,
so that's a bad
continuity.
Yeah, there you go.
Continuity.
Yeah, so that's somebody's job, you know what I'm saying, to notice that, whether that's in the edit or right there on the set, but usually that's type of situation probably in the edit. So it's like, that's a gift. And we have to recognize that in our kids early instead of, they being picky or, whatever. They show signs of that, because I know I did. And when his name's Bruce. So when Bruce was like, hey, you want to come to LA? I bet on myself. I took the last of what I had. Like, I was at Bare Crumbs. It's the pandemic. I'm moving around. I'm like, man, what? I got to take this chance. I got to go. And so I didn't even know what set it was for. I had no idea what we were going to be working on. I literally had a sketch, and that was it. He had sent me a sketch of what it was going to look like that he had hand-drawn sitting there doing the Dave Chappelle show, and it was beautiful. Like, it was a beautiful sketch, and I was just like, I actually have the original, so I get y'all a picture of it, but I made him sign it and everything because it was special to me. And when I got to LA, he sent me a text. He said, this is for 20s, and I was like, oh, I watched that show, I think, a couple of times. And I still hadn't even associated it with Lena Waithe for real. So I was still stuck there. And I got there on the set and it was blank. And it's like a blank canvas. We're in a white room. It's we had doors that didn't match, you know, a chandelier that was just randomly to the side and just a bunch of stuff. And I'm just looking like, this is going to turn into that? Like, how, man?
Okay.
Like, I see the vision though, Bruce. And just watching the process of that was the first time I was able to paint. And that was something I wanted to do my entire life that the men in my life told me I couldn't do.
Ooh.
So it was like, whoa, it was deeper. Here I am having this guy who's done so many sets. Like, he's done so many shows. He's worked with Stan Lathan. And, you know, this is Sanaa Lathan daddy. You know, this is the Cosby show.
A heavyweight.
This is right-hand man. Mm-hmm. So he designs his sets. And I'm like, and here I am, sitting here now. And then B. Scott comes out with this beautiful energy. Like, that's just like, and I know the history of what's going on here. Like, you're not supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. No, for multiple reasons, according to society, according to even the law, between things that happen between B. Scott and BET. Mm-hmm. You know, it was just so many layers of that. And I was like, this is respect, and this is showing me who Lena Waithe is as a person, because this is as per request.
Yeah.
You know, these are things that's happening, and I'm like, this is how you put your people on. This is how you have your people's back. And it got very emotional on that set, especially the last day.
I want to pause you right there, because we definitely going to come back to that. Check it out in the extended interview. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at _sound_yogi.
Awesome. And so we're going to come back, learn more about your experience on set, and definitely dive more into, you know, what you got going on for your next projects.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right, so that was a fake break. We really just about to jump right back into
it. Cool. That's cool.
So I really want to. We left off talking about that night on the set, and just how it was an emotional experience. Just tell us about what happened.
I mean, it was B is just a beautiful spirit. Like, that's really, for me, I've always had my own personal issues with pronoun delivery. Like, especially if I know you already. Yeah. Like, if you were introduced like that, it's a little easier for me. But my friends who are transitioning over, I'll be like, oh man, I'm fumbling all over this, but I'm trying to be better with it. Yeah. B helped me with that. Because it was they, them pronouns, and that's it. Like, no, we're not having that. It was very specific. Like, even as far as leading up to it, pre-production was like, do you have any people on your staff that's like funny acting about the LGBTQ community? We don't want that here. So this was just like, this is a space. They created the space. Even the terminologies that they used were, when you say something to somebody, I receive that. Mm-hmm. That was B. Scott's answer, instead of thank you or whatever. You know, people sometimes don't even acknowledge what you just said to them. But, oh no, I received that.
Yo, I literally adopted that into my language from watching 20s. See? Actually, Nia's character, and Hattie's character said it too, and I'm like, I received that.
Shout out to JoJo Gibbs.
I have brought that
JoJo Gibbs was the best part of that set, to be honest.
Yeah.
So authentic.
Wow.
And so funny. So funny. Everybody that I encountered from that cast was amazing. Like, their spirit was good. It seemed like that shows on the screen for me. And just being able to be a part of it was an honor. Being a kid from Detroit, that's just like, you know, this is how I was in my 20s. You know, this is cool. And then for people, then they're like me, and I never thought I would be able to see that on the screen. Like, no, they wouldn't have that back in like the 90s, 2000s. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Did you have any examples of yourself? Did you see anybody like that was who you thought you could be growing up?
I mean, when I did see them, they were saying they wasn't gay. So it was, you know, I don't want to say no names, but you know, that's what it was.
Come on.
And now they out here like they got shows and they gay and they get married. And so I'm like, for me, that was a struggle. I had a little moment where I was like, man, forget them. Especially two of them. Like I said, I'm better now. I've dealt with my trauma with that. Because I realized that their coming out wasn't my story. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like if they had said it, then my mama was going to understand this better, because my mama loved those people, those artists, right? That's not their responsibility.
And they got their own whole shit.
Whole thing.
Their whole world, yeah.
But that's growing up and realizing that even at shows like 20s, shows like Pose, those things are influential, and they need to be on the screen so that kids like me when I was a kid can have that. Exactly. So they are taking the responsibility now because it is.
And it's not real humans taking it on, it's characters.
Mm-hmm. It's characters. And it's so deep and it's so important, man. I know people that won't even watch these shows just because of that. Yeah. But you know they exist. Mm-hmm. And you know what? You still gonna backdoor and see it somehow. Something gonna happen with you. And I hope that these shows can create the shifts, the change in people's mentality. Because they was hanging people off of, what's my man? They hung him from a fence. This was back in like the 90s or something like that.
Not Matthew Shepard.
There you go.
Yeah, Matthew Shepard.
Okay. Yeah, they did all kind of.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah.
We are developing better communication because of these things, because of these shows, because of these conversations, because people like B. Scott are saying, no, you're going to call me they. I'm standing up for that. Like, no, yes, BT, you're going to do this. Yes, world, you're going to do this. Like, because I say so, and I'm generating that power. Yes. And that's what's going on here. That's what's happening on these sets. So it's, for me personally, when I'm designing, that's where I'm coming from. I'm getting into the character. I'm getting into the script. I'm getting into what's going on. And how do I feel about it? And then how does the creator feel about it? And now let's meet in the middle there and let's visualize it.
Yes.
So that's the only way for me to create the change that I want to see. So it might be something small. I use my grandmother's artwork in this new movie that we're doing. He looked like a postcard. So it starred Jessica Caramore here in Detroit. Tobias Trevelyan.
Jessica Caramore.
Yes, directed by Kwazin Bazir. So that's going to be really, really dope for the city. It's like Love Jones meets Detroit. Full of artwork by Jay and Cortez. We got LGBTQ all over there. We got some Cindy James. We got some, man, look. I'm doing my best here, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing my best here.
You are dropping so many. That's beautiful. Like, it is so much talent. Oh my God.
Detroit.
In the city.
That's what the masterminds want to do. We want to collectively. That's what it is. It's a collective. Mm-hmm. So we're going to network. We're going to keep throwing events where people can come out and talk and all of that stuff and network and see how we can all help each other, because everybody has a portal to somebody. That's why when I saw that Lena White thing, I said, oh man, I was literally talking to our assistant when I saw that. Like I was emailing about something completely different. I'm like, I was talking to them about the artists in Detroit, and I'm mentioning Al Wu. Like I'm like, this is who I'm talking about, and that's energy. We're generating. We was generating that long ago. Idlewild. We're generating that. Yes, like so, we just gonna come together and keep doing that for Detroit, because we gotta let people know. They gotta know. They gotta put some respect on our name.
Period. Let's go.
They gotta do that.
Let's go.
So, we have a couple questions that we always ask. So one I'm going to ask is, who is your woman crush? We're going to start off with from the show, but then who's your woman crush just in life? It could be platonic. It could be, somebody who's just doing really dope work. It could be romantic, kind of however you want to take it.
I am Rachel Simone is my woman crush. She is always doing hard work behind the scenes. She taught me how to put your people on. You know what I'm saying? She put me on. I've watched how she done to other people, because I was already in my space with audio. That was my thing. That's what people knew me for. But if it wasn't for her stepping up and being like, hey, you gonna do this PA thing? Then it would be no 20s. It would have been no Real Housewives. It would have been no movies. It would have been nothing. It would have just been me still trying to stumble around with my audio and not really seeing the whole painting for what it was. I was only seeing part of the canvas, and now it's much broader. So yeah, shout out to I Am Rachel Simone, who is it's my business partner, my woman crush Wednesday, man. She's dope. Shout her out. Go follow her too. Like, you want to get put on in the city of Detroit?
Bet it up. All of that's gonna be all in the captions and descriptions and all of that.
Yes. Awesome. Where do you want to take your work next? What kind of work do you want to be involved in? Where can we find you?
What I want to do is ultimately build a whole platform where children learn how to do this. Like, that's always been my thing, is teaching our kids, because it's a lot of kids who don't have anybody at all. And if they do have people, they're not really either mentally stable, physically stable. They're becoming parents to their siblings. Those types of things, not having an outlet and not even knowing where to look for one. Yeah. So knowing that these types of jobs exist outside of, I want to go work at McDonald's. Now, you don't have to start out there. Right. That doesn't have to be your start point. Right. I always say that about Walmart. Like, I don't like how they start with disabled people having to, like, that's your only stop is Walmart. They bring in a whole busload of kids with Down syndrome here, like, hey, this is your career path. you're capable of so much more, no matter what your circumstances look like. And that's the goal here. Is I want to be able to broaden their horizons, starting with audio, but not limiting them to anything. And I have specific details with that like when it come out, it's gonna hit the fan. But pretty much the gist of it is, this world is your main mix. Everything in it goes to audio dynamics, the amount of input and the amount of output that you have. You're generating all of this. So being able to help guide them through their ups and downs, through their peaks and troughs, that's what I want to be able to do next in my next stages. So even with designing the sets, if that's part of it, putting on the plays, okay, we got to design sets, right? Exactly. Let me show y'all how to do that. So in our school, this is a studio here. Yes. That we can reform these things and show you how to do that. We have paint. The creativity is endless. I don't want to put any limitations on myself or the kids coming up behind me. So that's my goal, is to bring up the little masterminds.
That's everything.
Absolutely.
That's everything. There's so much talent in Detroit, and I feel like just the mentorship, but then also the pathway to the experience. You know, how do you get to where you get to exercise these skills so you can seriously compete and you know what you're up against, and you know what's possible.
Absolutely.
This has been such a dope conversation. I want to give you kind of the last word. What do you want people to take action and do next? How can they help out? What's going on with you?
Just follow us, support. Like I gave you all the sites that you can find us on. Watch out for our next events for Masterminds. They're going to be coming up real soon with more education, how to get booked, what do you do as a PA, what is a PA, radio etiquette, things like that people not talking about. You get on the set, you get on the mic, and you don't know what to do. You know, that's a problem.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
So you have to be in constant communication. So those type of classes, even down to setting up your audio equipment, your video equipment, how you should start off, what's your budget, marketing, like merchandising. People don't know, I was slinging peanuts down in Cheyenne Park not too long ago, you feel me? Like, yeah.
Let's go.
So I could turn around and understand what merchandising was. So I got to meet some of the top merch people in the game, Charlie Wilson's people, Erykah Badu's people. Erykah Badu is the queen of merch, okay? Queen of merch.
Yo,
okay?
I just saw some fire merch from her too that was targeted towards me. I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing.
Fire.
They was ready
I'm
to
such
get
a
you.
fan.
She not coming nowhere without her merch, because she know that's the name of the game. A free game, get your merchandise up. I don't care where you going. If you going to an open mic night, hey, get your merch up.
I don't know if you
The link is coming,
to
okay?
notice,
Get
yeah.
your coins together.
That's what it is. That's what
doing
I'm
well.
talking about. I forgot y'all had them on too. See, yeah.
Let's go.
Yes. And this has been amazing, y'all, for real. I love what y'all doing. When I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I have to tell them that I was there for this. Like, I have to shout out. Like,
awesome.
It was an amazing experience. So yeah, shout out to Lena Wave, shout out to Twenties, BET, Bruce Ryan, I love you. Peter Ryan, I love you too. Like, those are my mentors on the set design. So yeah, come follow me.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Hey, yeah, it was so awesome to have you.
Yeah.
So awesome to have you. And until next time, yo, continue to watch 20s. Continue to watch the after show with B. Scott. The after party.
Yeah.
After party with
The
B.
after show.
So after show, okay.
The after show.
Boom, with B. Scott.
Yeah.
Definitely
Pay
make sure
attention
you
to that
watch
set,
that.
see the artwork that's happening.
It's gorgeous.
You know, see the design. It does look good. I want to personally sit on the set.
Oh man, we can make that happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff going on in Detroit. Now, after I knew last week you could have been on the set for the movie. We needed extras.
See?
Yeah, let's go.
We was moving around. We ended up in Atlanta. It was a lot going on.
Yeah,
but like,
it was
you
a
know,
hip hop conference there. We got to see some people. Actually, some people from Detroit went out and performed out there. So that was dope.
man.
Yeah, so we just, but I mean, yo, like this is not the end. This is just the beginning of an ongoing thing. So like, I love it. I'm so glad that we could put this on record and yeah, just have this in the archives for other people to see, learn, grow, and figure out what their next moves are for their lives to just do exactly what you're talking about. So
Absolutely.
yo.
So if you're an artist in Detroit, make sure you check out the Sound Yogi. You know, make sure that you drop your information in the chat. Actually, if you're an artist working in Detroit, working on production, it's also always beautiful connecting with people. If something great happening, I know Detroit is somewhere in the mix. Thank you so much, Krystal,
Thank y'all for
joining us.
You.
And follow us on Instagram, Woman Crush Every Day.
That's it.
Woman Crush.
Right.
Hey.
Peace, y'all.